Hi everybody, my name is Giulia Barsuola and I'm a second year PhD student at the MRC Cognition and Brain Sciences unit as Praxan here at the University of Cambridge. First of all, I'm extremely grateful to be here tonight. I really want to say thank you so much to Craig, Alfredo and the Cambridge Science Festival. It's awesome to be here, and it is something being out and proud of being queer is something that in many countries is extremely difficult, especially in the workplace, especially in academia. And the country where I'm from, which is Italy, that's really much the case. So my experience here has actually been extremely positive, and I'm very grateful for this. So being here means a lot. So as you have guessed, I'm here tonight because I'm queer and I'm in science. Specifically, I am a bisexual non-binary person working in cognitive neuroscience. So I'm pretty sure the bisexual part is clear to everybody. The non-binary part might be a little bit more tricky, but it refers to all those identities that do not fit into the male-female binary categories. So it means that I am not a man, I am not a woman, I am simply a human whose gender and sex are not particularly relevant. And I believe that categorizing myself according to my gender or my sex is not extremely useful, and certainly it doesn't say much about who I am. So this is also reflected into the language we use. In English we have gender-neutral pronouns like the singular they, and indeed my pronouns are they, them. So if all this sounds a bit complicated to you, no worries, I'm with you. And you could just do what my colleagues started doing some time ago. So they just describe me like this, as a unicorn. Which makes me extremely happy and simplify things a lot. And as I was saying, I really have to say that my department, my colleagues, my lab has been extremely supportive. We fly the rainbow flag in our department every day of the year, and more than one PI in my department is out and vocally gay, which helped a lot. So, but other than being a bisexual non-binary person, I am a cognitive neuroscientist, and I study memory and the other side of the coin, which is forgetting. We have two kinds of forgetting. In psychology, we have incidental forgetting, which happens without the intention to forget, but we also have motivated forgetting, which happens with the intention to forget. So we really want to forget something. How is this happening? This is also called adaptive forgetting in a rather Darwinian mind framework. I'm very happy because I'm affiliated with Darwin College, so this means a lot. Adaptive because it fosters our well-being and ultimately it improves our survival. So sometimes we do need to forget in order to survive. So this is the kind of forgetting I'm interested in. And tonight I will briefly walk you through how we can regulate unwanted memories, trying to convey the message that we are not at the mercy of our past. So we have agency and control over our memories much more than we think. So why doing all this? Well, I want to start with a beautiful quote by my favorite philosopher, who is Friedrich Nietzsche, and who wrote, "Blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better, even if they blunders." So blessed are the forgetful. Nietzsche is saying, guys, forgetting might not be that bad after all. Those ones of us who can forget are the blessed ones. So we should be indeed grateful we can forget, because that's indeed a blessing. How can we study all this in the lab, right? That's the question, because we are scientists, we love labs, we have white lab coats, well, not really. Cognitive neurosciences don't really have that, which is a shame. But so we have to find a way to study this in the lab. Well, my supervisor, Michael Anderson, came up with this awesome task, which is called the Think Nothing task, and first published in 2001 and has been replicated thousands of times. And let me walk you through this task. Let's pretend you're my participants. So the Think Nothing task is based on three main phases: the learning phase, the Think Nothing phase, and the recall phase. As you can guess, in the learning phase you have to learn something. In this case, for example, we have to learn 36 word pairs, like, for example, mark, cross, and tank, fill, or booth, dial. Amazing. So you memorize these word pairs, and I obviously test your memory to make sure that you did memorize these word pairs. And then we move on with the Think Nothing part. So in the Think Nothing part, some of these 36 word pairs are presented to you in green. So 12 of these words are presented to you in green and are the think words. 12 of these 36 words are presented to you in red. These are the no think words, and some others words are not presented to you in this phase. So the instructions are, for the green words, you have to think of the associated word. So in this case, for example, we have mark, and you have to think about the associated word, which is cross. Fantastic. For the red ones, the instruction is do not think about the associated word. So block all thoughts related to the word. And so you see tank, and you really only have to focus on tank without thinking about the associated word, which in this case is fill. And after each trial, after each word, you have to rate how that trial went. So whether the word intruded a bit, so you would say that never, you would say that never came to mind, or you would say that briefly came to mind, or you were thinking about that the whole time. So this is especially important for red words, because we need to monitor how good you were at blocking those thoughts. So after this phase, we move on with the recall phase. So we want to see how is your memory going now. And we show you the first word of those word pairs, all of them. So all the original ones, so the green ones, the red ones, and the ones that were not shown, so all of them. And you will tell us the associated word if you remember it. So in this case, I'll show you tank, and if you remember it, you will say that that's fill. Or I will show you booth, and if you remember it, you will say that it was dial, mark, cross. Fantastic. So what we see is that during the no-think trials, the ability to block these words from coming to mind is at first, well, not that great. The word keeps coming to mind, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like I really cannot stop thinking about that. What can I do? But then you keep pushing, and you see that the word intrudes into awareness a lot less. And during the recall phase, we see that the no-think words, so the red words, are remembered a lot less than the think words. And you might say, well, yeah, of course, you know, those ones who were thinking about that the whole time, and for the red ones who were just not thinking about that, yes. But the point is that these red words are also remembered a lot less than the baseline ones, so the ones that were not presented to you. So this difference is called suppression-induced forgetting, so which is basically saying to us that you forgot these words because you were really suppressing the recall of them. So, but what's going on in the brain, because yeah, we're studying the brain, alive and not damaging our participants, so that's, you know, all ethical and good. So we put them in the MRI scanner. It's great, it's a great experience, and this is what we see in the think no think phase, specifically during the red words, when you're like pushing the word out of mind. Well, what we see is that we have this upregulation of the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which essentially means that this region in your prefrontal cortex in the right hemisphere is, let's say, very active. So that's great. But we also see that other two regions in a very different place of the brain, the hippocampus, this one, which is responsible, let's say, for memories, and the amygdala, which is a key region for emotions. Well, these two regions here are downregulated. So these two regions are, let's say, less active. And what we think is going on is that the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is driving this deactivation. So the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is shouting at the hippocampus and amygdala, telling them to just like, chill a bit, to just have a rest. So this is very fascinating to us, and we are studying all the mechanisms of how this is going on in the brain. But another question that we are really interested in asking is what's going on with our personal memories, what's going on with the memories of our own past. So this is what we call autobiographical memory, because so far we have been talking about word pairs. So, well, you might say, okay, fine, but how does it really, has anything to do with my life? Well, what's going on with your personal memory? Can we regulate, can we control those memories as much as the word pairs? And I'm interested in seeing how this relates to repetitive thinking. So all those negative, intrusive thoughts that keeps coming to mind over and over and are extremely important also in depression or anxiety, PTSD, and OCD. So we came up with an adaptation of the think not think task that we have been through. There are many differences, but the only one that is relevant tonight is that in the first part, our participant comes up with 22 intrusive negative memories from their past 3 years, and from those memories they choose 2 words that will become the word pair. So the word pair is tailored to their memories, and then we go through think items. You think about the word, you think about the event, and you rate that. No think items, you block all thoughts, and you rate that, and so on. And again, well, we are very, very happy. These are very preliminary results, but we see that the same pattern is going on. So there's a significant reduction of intrusions during no-think trials, and so this makes us extremely happy. And so this is saying that our participants are getting better at controlling their memories. So it's just very difficult at the beginning, but if you keep pushing, that's the way to go. And it is possible to voluntarily reduce these intrusions. So we have agency over our memories. So again, why regulating our memories? Anne Carson, my favorite poet, wrote, too much memory is the problem, and that's indeed the case. And Friedrich Nietzsche would say, yes, of course, that means that without forgetting it's quite impossible to live at all. And yeah, the lab really believes that's true. So in 3 simple words, let it go. That's always, the best advice. Which actually, yeah, is also, I'm not sure whether we can hear that, but it's quite far. It's quite far from Nietzsche, but from it's let it go. Like next time you're having those repetitive thoughts, just let it go. And yeah, so thank you so much to my lab, to my department. These people are awesome and are incredibly supportive. And yeah, thank you all for listening. And remember to forget.